fine if it's, supplementing other stuff. But the red devotion deck, a lot of its creatures, the Ass Zealot and Burning Tree Emissary type of creatures, are really poor against mono blue devotion. They're so good at blocking that it's worth taking out some of that stuff and deciding into more of a sweeper deck. 2/2s are just really poorly suited for slogging through the various Frostborn Weirds and Night Bale Specters of the blue devotion deck.
So Bale is happy with his starting 7, as is Hatch, and so we are underway, beginning things with a Sacred Foundry for the devotion player. Hatch just with an island, so no 1-drop here. You see he's got a Domestication in his hand, among other things. Here is an Ash Zealot, so we'll get the party started here with a Haster. Put Hatch down to 18.
And you can't take out this stuff altogether, since it's just, you have to maintain a critical mass of permanence in your deck to enable your devotion stuff, but it's an uphill battle for sure to be connecting with the 2/2s, as you see weird and no third land from Brandon.
Brandon does have Chain of the Rocks in his hand, and he does have the necessary mana to cast it. So that's if you're looking for positives, that's certainly one thing here, but not having a third land is a really, really big deal. He does have 2 copies of Burning Tree Emissary in his hand, however. I think he has a copy of Anger of the Gods, too.
Yep.
So Hatch probably needs to tread a little bit lightly. He's going to go with the Frostborn Weird and pass the turn back. Brandon draws his card. I believe it is a Mountain.
Big draw. Third land is super important here. I was making fun of James when he was playing this deck in Los Angeles. And I was like, with Burning Tree Emissary in your deck, you're allowed to play cards that you can cast off of Burning Tree Emissary, You see Brandon over here with kind of a similar hand of, white spells and other things that he can't really add to the table at the same time.
Hatch with a 4th land. He does have Master of Waves out in his hand, How good is it right now is a question, especially, we're in game number 3, so it's likely that he knows that he's playing against Chain of the Rocks. Maybe he's seen an Anger of the Gods, that sort of stuff. But he's going to get this on the table right now.
His defenses have to be somewhat raised by the fact that Brandon missed his 3rd land drop, drew a 3rd land, and didn't cast anything. It's traditionally a very strong representation of some sort of sweeper coming. But now Master Waves not being killed by Anger sort of forces Brandon's hand a little bit here. Master of Waves is chained to the rock and not willing to commit any more of his 2/2s to play, again, trying to set up a good Anger. But now this is an opportunity for Hatch to land his Domestication on that Weird, as Brandon doesn't have 3 mana up to essentially fizzle.
Yeah.
And so now that Anger of the Gods has gone really, really far south now, because now Hatch is aboard of multiple 4-toughness creatures.
Yeah. Domestication looks great in this matchup.
And now we're kind of seeing the awkwardness of the all 2/2 and Anger of the God deck.
Yeah. And how good, and the other thing you're seeing too is just how good Frostborn Weird is against this deck.
And it's really hard for Brandon to proceed from here. I mean, the 2/2s he's adding to the board don't really accomplish very much. And there's an Anger of the Gods.
And it's a 1 for, I was going to say it's 1 for him, but it's not even that.
Yeah. He kind of needs to do this now because he has so many 2/2s in his hand that he needs to, he needs to get that out of the way first before his Burning Tree Emissary and Ass Zealot start doing it.
I completely agree.
It's more of an indictment on, how his hand and deck is kind of structured right now.
This could be a turn where we just see Hatch just attack with Frostborn Weird to get in for 8 points of damage, but he's going to start by playing a Night Veil Specter, pump up the jam a couple times here on a Frostborn Weird and come across for 5.
And anytime you're playing against a deck that has Nykthos and Burning Tree Emissary, you can never be too sure of how far you are in the game, because their ability to take an explosive turn out of nowhere is always there.
Yeah.
But Brandon's hand appears to have, really no place to go.
Yeah, he's definitely got a rough road ahead here. Here's a Burning Tree Emissary. So this is step 1. Trigger. Next one.
And right now, I guarantee you Hatch is sweating bullets.
Yeah, I'd be a little scared, hoping that your opponent doesn't have a Nykthos right now, because that'd be horrifying. But fortunately for Hatch, he doesn't have one. Red-green floating, of course.
And again, because of the way the Burning Tree Emissary's mana works, he can't play Ash Zealot and Chain of the Rocks. He gets to choose between one or the other.
He's going to probably chain him. I think he wants to take down a Spectre, probably? The Frostborn is causing some trouble, too.
Everything is troubling right now. I mean, all the cards are kind of equally bad.
He's going to go with Ash Zealot. I think the thought process here is probably just save Chain of the Rocks for something that's just a lot more important. I mean, one of the big threats, be a Thassa or be a Master of Waves. Looks like Hatch may have turned a Mutavault for the turn. He's going to just start by attacking with Spectre, as those Frostborn Weirds can hold off that entire army. What's that top card? Moved it off too quick. We know it's red. And we know it's Anger of the Gods. Well, that would have been a bad draw for Brandon anyway, so probably happy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Although with a Nykthos and those Frostborn Weirds, Hatch could cast Anger himself. So
hello.
do not rule this out.
Trust me, he'll see it.
Yeah. Hatch lives for that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
lives for that.
With how that mind works, he'll see it. Here's another Domestication. Taking an Ash Zealot. Pass the turn back. Domestication, great card against this red deck, too. I mean, Boros Reckoner, I think, is the ideal target. Boros Guildgate off the top here for Bale. Stormbreath Dragon, Chain of the Rocks, I think Boros Guildgate are the three cards here. So Guildgate's going to come into play. But no good attacks to be had.
And I'm a little surprised by Brandon only going with 3 copies of Nykthos. I understand it's legendary, but without that card, this deck often feels, all dressed up and nowhere to go, basically. Yeah. All the powerful things it does, seems like Nykthos is a prerequisite for any of that happening.
Just best turn back, nothing to do. No real good Chain of the Rock targets,
again,
oddly enough.
All these creatures are kind of equally bad for Brandon. There's not a great target for the removal spell.
Hatch going to play his island right now, I think. Okay.
Oh, no, he's noodling through the possibility of being able to cast that Anger at some point, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a situation where he would want to attack first.
Yes.
See what land, if he does find land, but he is going to play the island. So now, looks like he's getting a little bit okay, it looks like he'd be getting very aggressive now. I mean, he is sitting at 18 life, and he can just start to get this game over with.
Yeah.
A little surprised to see him not fire from Mutavault, too, if he's going to make this attack.
Well, I think, how much mana does he have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he could have, in theory, activated Mutavault and still had enough mana left to pump both of the weirds to maximum if that came up.
But now Bale's getting into a situation where he's getting priced into blocking now.
Yes.
His life total being at 9, that he has to do, exactly this, which is double block. Which is fine because Hatch just triple spins.
Yep. It's going to make that weird into a 4-1. I would imagine pump the other weird as well.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage. Gonna put Bale down to 1 if everything goes smoothly here. See Domestication. Gonna hand that over to the judge, make sure everything is kosher here with that.
Yeah. Domestication checks at the end of the turn. So. Oh, sorry. Yeah, beginning of your end step.
Yeah. So damage is gonna resolve. A bunch of things are gonna get traded. Dust is gonna settle. Frostborn Weird is actually going to go into the graveyard. There we go. So our board state is good. Trigger from Spectre. Not quite sure what he revealed to put on top of the Anger of the Gods. I'm not entirely sure it's going to matter, though, as a mountain comes into play. And now Stormbreath Dragon is available. But now he can't cast both of those cards, which means that he needed to cash in the Chain of the Rocks probably a little bit earlier, and it's going to extend the hand. So Greg Hatch is going to win this match 2-1 over Brandon Bale. Mono Blue Devotion defeating Red White Devotion. Bale picks up his 2nd loss in the tournament. Hatch picks up his 8th win. But both these players are sitting at 8-2. And now the big question is the old tiebreaker game.
Oh, yeah, they get to both sweat it out here. And again, we're, not totally informed on what the tiebreaker situation is like, but both of these players are, given the fact that it was an X1 and X2 playing each other, both of these players are likely to be on the bubble.
Yeah. So we'll see how it ends up breaking